Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Joni Young if you're new here, and today I'm going to show you all step by step how to paint this beautiful colorful landscape. So I'm working on 11 by 14 primed and stretched canvas. I've got a few colors on hand here. I've got some luminous rose, neon rose by Holbein, and some light blue violet. I've got some Dioxazine purple, and what I'm going to do just to start for the background is just go ahead and directly apply some paint right onto the canvas. So I'll take my light blue violet, add a little bit there, neon rose, and some purple around the sides. I'm going to add just a little bit of phthalo blue. And what I'm going to do is take a few of my mop brushes. They're dry, I'm not going to get them wet. And I'm just going to use these to just start blending the paint around. We're going to start with this here in the middle, and then go over into my light blue violet, and then into my Dioxazine purple, into my phthalo blue, back into the purple, and with the leftover extra paint here, I'm just going to add that to the edges of the canvas. Just lift the bar up here and get the rest. Then I'm going to use another mop brush and just start to soften. I'm going to have my towel right here just to wipe the excess paint off. So you want to just go over where the colors start to meet the next color and really just soften. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is take my number 14 filbert brush. If you don't have this size, use one. Any size that you have actually for this next step and technique. I'm just going to get my brush a little bit wet. I'm going to take a little bit of my titanium white here. Just add a little bit to my little plate. You don't want to have too much paint on your brush for this, just enough to work with. And I'm just going to start right in here. Now the paint underneath is still wet, and I like that because I'm creating softer tones of all those colors, picking up a few of them and adding them all around, so we're just getting so many different shades. And if you pick up too much, just wash your brush off or wipe the excess off on a towel. You can also dry your painting off first if you want. You'll get a different look, but it'll still be really pretty. And we're just going to add these little scoops in here to start creating some clouds. So just scoops like this. I think I'm going to make this my light source in here. So I'm just going to add a few little ones in here, making them smaller and smaller and then larger towards the outside of the canvas. It's going to start giving us some interesting perspective. So lots of little ones like this. Got a little drip of water in there. Those kind of look pretty. When a little bit of water drips on there and then you go to wipe it off, kind of glows. Okay, so I'm going to start drying this off with my hair dryer, and then I can come in with some more layers, adding some more light in this painting. And I'm now going to just go back to what I was doing with my number 14 filbert brush, a little bit of white paint. My brush is a bit damp, but it's not dripping. Just with a bit of water, I'm going to come in here and add those little scoops, overlapping. Getting a little bit larger. And small, small, small. And then bigger. Now don't worry if you don't have a filbert brush. You can also create these little scoops with a round brush, a liner brush. I mean, really, even a flat brush. It's just the easiest, I find, with a filbert because it's got that shape already to it. I'm going to add a little bit of light olive green, a little bit more of my Dioxazine purple, and a little bit of my bright aqua green. Okay, so I'm just envisioning a pathway leading through there, and I'm going to start that with some purple and pull a little bit of that light olive green. And I think I'm going to just start from the tip of my brush, sliding over this way, making the lines a little bit wider as we come out here into the foreground. Add a little bit more. We'll try that again. So little lines sliding back and forth, side to side, and then making them longer or wider. You can push a little bit harder as we come out here towards us in the foreground. I'm just going to start tapping in a little bit of moss or bushes along the side. I've got another brush that I'm going to be using for this. I'll take a little bit more of my olive green this time. bring that path towards the center of that little circle or oval. And then we're going to start. You can make stairs if you want, but this is just going to be a path today. I know I do paint a lot of stairs, but let's keep it a path today. So I've got one of these oval mop brushes. This is a 1-inch. And what I'm going to do is take some of that light olive green and a little bit of white that I happen to still have here from earlier. And just tap, tap, tap. No water on my brush at all. And I'm just going to line it up here. And just start tapping a little bit where the light's going to be hitting. And then it gets a little bit darker here. And then lighter again right here. And we'll just gently pull and sweep. And pull and sweep down a little bit along here as well. I'm going to take a little bit of my purple this time. Add a little bit more along the edge. Turn my brush this way. Tap, tap, tap. It's going to really give us that feeling that it's just a floating path in the sky. Go back over to my filbert brush here. Just soften the edges here a little bit. Just be a little bit softer. And then I'm going to take my purple and pull out this way, adding some more shadow or shadows like that. Okay, for the next color, I've got neon or luminous yellow. This is a warm yellow. I've got a little bit more white and the yellow. I'm going to take both colors, mix them up, just crisscross with my filbert brush. And I'm going to start adding some more light in here. So just those little scoops that we were doing before. Add a little bit on the path. And just add a little bit more, a little bit at a time here, just to soften that up. And then a few little sun rays. A little bit of water on your brush to loosen the paint up. And then pull and flick in all directions or wherever you want your sun rays to be. And then we'll just make it a little bit brighter in here. You might have to do this a few times, apply the white and yellow a few times, just because it'll dry a little bit darker. Okay, so I'm going to leave that for now. And the next thing I want to do is switch back over to my turquoise here. Load both sides of my brush. And I'm just going to start adding some water down here. We'll create a magical pool. I want to leave a little bit of blue in between, because that'll give us some nice shadows and balance in the water, more contrast. I'm going to take a little bit more of my, this is a Phthalo cyan blue. It's very similar to Phthalo blue. Either one is fine for this painting. And I'm going to take a little scoop of each turquoise and the Phthalo. And I'm going to add it along the side here. I'm going to start pulling up like this, kind of sweeping up. So we've got sort of a bell shape. And I'm going to come and add some of that color along the side here. Take a little bit more of my phthalo. I'm going to switch over to one of my angled flat brushes. This is a number 10, and I like to use these brushes. I turn them so that the shortest end of it is what I'm using to pull into the center. And I'm going to add some waterfalls in here. A little bit of white water on my brush and the blue and turquoise. And I'm just going to pull from either side, line it up, pull and drop. You can go from the bottom and create that little bell shape again. Sometimes that looks really pretty in a painting. I like to switch it up. Sometimes I'll add my waterfalls like that, and other times I'll just have them come just straight down. And I'm going to add some on this side as well. This is a wonderful brush for creating waterfalls. It's really, really easy with this brush. So if you're just starting out and you're not sure how to paint waterfalls, this pretty much does the work for you. It's really, really nice to use. Pick up a little bit more of that phthalo blue. And drop some down in here. And if you want your waterfalls to look a little ruffly, have a little bit more movement, then just gently kind of shake. This is the same technique for painting hair. I've used this technique for painting horses' mane and tails. Little shakiness. a bit of turquoise and phthalo. And create a little bit of movement down at the base of the waterfalls. A little tap, tap, and a wiggle. I'm going to add a little bit of this blue turquoise over part of the clouds here. You can kind of just layer over so that underneath, the paint underneath is all dry now. You can create this pretty little filter. I'm going to go back over to my purple, a little bit of olive green, and add a little bit more of an edge here. Maybe some rocks. We can add a little moss on them. Just a little sweep here of that green. What we can also do is pull and flick up like this. Same colors, the green and the purple. This time we could add some trees in here. I add just a little bit of water to my brush, and we'll try that again. Let's add a little bit here on the edge. And coming from the top, again, just the green and the purple. A little bit more green this time. Like a mossy sort of a wall coming down. Oh, look how pretty that is. The green mixing over top of the turquoise and the blue like that. Just going to come in here with a little bit more of my green. Okay, I'm going to switch over to a number 3 liner brush. I'm going to get some water, some purple, a little bit of phthalo in there, and I'm going to start adding some trees. So I'm going to come down here and kind of wiggle for some tree roots. Pull it out to that side, and then a little wiggle along the path. And then with some more water, we're going to come up and start painting some really wiggly, crooked trees, giving us lots of character in this painting. Twisting and pulling, and then letting off pressure when you want to get to the end of your branch. That's where you want to apply the least amount of pressure. The key with liner brushes, you really need to have that patience and remember to go back for more water. Because they're such small brushes, they can't hold a lot, right? So take that time to add enough water, roll, twist your brush, and have the majority of the paint and water mixture on the tip of your brush. As these trees come out, we're going to start making them a little bit bigger. I'm going to add one right down here. So I'm painting this as the ideas are coming to me. This is another one of my intuitive paintings where I just paint from imagination with nothing planned ahead of time. All the colors, the brushes, composition, everything is just from my imagination. I don't have any reference photo, and this is a really fun way to paint. I love hearing that you guys are starting to do this yourselves. And you guys are doing a fabulous job. I love seeing your paintings. Thanks for sharing them and tagging me in them. Got a really big, cool looking tree over here. And I'm just going to continue. I love painting trees. I could just paint trees all day. Get lost in all the little branches and highlights and shadows. It's very relaxing. Anything that has a lot of lines and light and shadow, like clouds and water, things like that, are calming to paint. So if you're wanting to paint for art therapy and relaxation, I recommend working on, and don't think about if it looks good or not. Don't, just kind of get that out of your mind and just paint for the enjoyment. I have a little branch that kind of comes up and over here. I'm gonna add a bigger one right here. I want to thank you guys for all of your support here on my channel. I love what I do, and I love to be able to share these tutorials with you guys quite often here and on Patreon. Lots of tutorials and videos to choose from to help you with your art journey, relaxation, art therapy, learning new tips and techniques, whatever the reason that brings you to my channel. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here. So just adding little branches and more trees here and there. I think I'm just gonna add a few little roots, wiggly things or vines that come down right here. And maybe add a little bit of turquoise and blue. I'm not overly mixing them. I'm just taking a little scoop of each one like this And just kind of dabbing, sometimes a little shake and a little wiggle, just to make it look more natural. We don't know what type of plant it is. It might just be some tree roots. It might be little vines. A little bit more blue here. And then a little purple. Just so it kind of all flows together. Okay, so I think what we could do is start adding some treetops, and I really like using, where's my other, thought I had another, I do somewhere, I've got another oval mop brush somewhere, but I can't find it, so I'm going to be using this angled mop brush. You can use any mop brush, stipple brush, or a filbert brush, even a fan brush. There's lots of different brushes out there for options for creating just a tap and stipple brush technique. Now the red that I've got is by Arteza, and this is a crimson red. Okay, so what I'm going to do is come in with this crimson red and a dry mop brush, tap, 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 and I'm going to start adding some red in here. Now, this is kind of a bold color, but I like bold colors, and fall is just around the corner, and I'm thinking about all the beautiful maple trees. Our trees are starting to turn color already. So this is just the first layer. Add a little bit on this side too. And then the next color I'm going to add is my neon yellow warm. And I'm going to start tapping. This is really thick paint. You can use any paint, by the way. You don't have to have heavy bodied paint. This is another layer. I'll be adding more once it dries. It's going to dry a little bit darker than this. And then I can come over and do some cool things with, create some neat color effects, glazing effects with some neon red, maybe a little bit of neon pink or orange. I'm just going to take what's left on my brush here and just add a little sweep at the base of the trees, so it kind of just looks like there's leaves, just a whole bed of leaves down here along the path. Okay, so to add the next layer of colors, neon orange, neon red, I've got number 16 filbert brush, and I'm going to start with this red, and I'm going to start just coming in over top of the other colors. And just see how it glows, and we create all these layers of leaves on our tree. It's really worth it to take the time and apply your paint in layers. Add a little bit right down here. And see, I'm not painting all the leaves separately one at a time. There's no need to do that unless you really want to do like close-ups, if that's what your focus is. And then tap, tap, tap a little bit here on the base and sweep. I'm leaving little hints of the other colors, of course. The orange or the yellow warm kind of looks orange, doesn't it? just add a little bit here. Just a little tap, sweep. A little something down here as well. And I'm going to take that beautiful orange and I'll add a little bit of this as well. And you don't have to have all these colors to paint with me today. You can use any orange, yellow, or red that you have. You can play around with them, mixing them, adding a bit of white to create softer tones. I'm going to take off a little bit of this and kind of move it around. I'm going to go over to my number 3 liner brush here. I'm just going to graze over the tree here. It'll look brown once it's dry. It'll just have a little bit of a more of a tree trunk look to it. And I'll add a little bit on these ones as well. Don't need a lot of water and you don't need a lot of paint for this. I'm just going to pick a few areas here to tap and dab. For some leaves. A few more layers to my waterfalls. I'm going to go back over to my angled brush and take some of that turquoise. As soon as we start adding a little bit more of this turquoise in here, the colors will really start to pop because, of course, turquoise is a green shade, right? And it's very complementary to all the red. And then a little bit of this light olive green as well. Little hints of it. Tap, tap, a little sweep here and there. You can layer over part of the water, making some of the water appear a little bit more kind of an emerald color just by layering like that. And then I'm going to go back into my phthalo right away and start to pull and sweep that in. Then a little bit of white with a bit of turquoise. Just add those waterfalls wherever you want, as many as you want. Make a little bit of white back here. Kind of gives us a nice kind of a foggy, misty background. Kind of mysterious. There could be some more waterfalls in the background there. And then I'll take a little bit of that turquoise and white and add some light here in the center. Add a little bit more purple to the edge there. Just to add a little bit more of a shadow. Okay. Well, this was so much fun to paint. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this one and painting along. Don't forget to subscribe for more. Leave a comment or question below this video if you have one, and be sure to check out all the links in the description box of this video and a full list of all the colors I'm using today. Have a wonderful day, and thanks again for watching. I'll see you all soon. Bye!